Yeah. So really Toronto, the best show of the whole tour, because that was a long tour. That was not a mini thing. You
Yeah,
did
no,
all of it.
for sure.
Yeah.
Toronto was I would say it was the rowdiest. It was for sure the rowdiest set for us. I think maybe Municipal Waste maybe had a rowdier set in maybe one other place. I think maybe and then Sacred Reich, I think their rowdiest was their hometown in Phoenix. So that makes sense. But I think collectively as a group, I think everyone got like probably the collective best reactions the whole tour. It was dope. Like it was crazy. It was my favorite show the whole tour.
Well, that is great to hear because during Municipal Waste, me and everyone else who was trying to get photos was just getting crushed up against the front of the stage. Like, we were dying. We were dying. And for you guys,
Yeah.
like, I'm looking and I got a couple of things with like you in focus, but you move around so much. And I was like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah,
but it
we
was
are
so
constant
fun.
motion. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Tony from Municipal Waste is an instigator, so he tries to get people to like get real crazy. So I'm sure he was on his like fucking let me throw this trash can and rile the crowd up. So you probably had a hard time taking photos.
There were cardboard boxes flying everywhere. It was a whole thing. I can see that look in his
Uh,
eye. He's like, "Oh, I see it happening." It was a little bit of that, like, how much shit can I start right now? So,
yeah, that like that middle school, like how much in trouble can I really get in right
yeah,
now? I
yeah,
loved
they're
it.
fun. And it's funny that I see you're wearing a Slayer hoodie, which I'm like, is it hoodie weather where you are? Are you home in
No,
Texas?
yeah, it's like I would say, I mean, I think out in the sun right now, it's probably like in the 80s, but I'm underneath a porch and there's a nice little breeze here, so it's like
It's
the
comfortable.
wind. Yeah, it's extremely comfortable. I'm just wearing sweats now, so
Because when I
I'm
was
I'm
coming into
always
the
chilling in
venue,
sweats.
yeah, when I was coming into the venue that night, there were a bunch of people doing the Slayer chant as if they were coming to see Slayer. Like,
Dude, I remember that, and I remember hearing that before we were playing, and we were like backstage, just like stretching, warming up, and I was like, oh, today's gonna be like a good
that's how
show.
you
Like
know. That's
I
how
was
you
like, they're
know.
literally screaming like Slayer, and it has nothing to do with this fucking show, dude.
Yeah.
Every time I ever seen that happen, that actually happened in Montreal when we were with Power Trip and High on Fire when we did that tour. They were doing the same thing. They were screaming about Slayer, but it was in a French accent, so it was even funnier. And
Slayer.
yeah, Slayer, Slayer, and so yeah, I was like, oh wow, these people are like into it. Like, and then again, it was one of the craziest shows of that tour, and like people were fucking going nuts. So
I spent the winter in Montreal and I almost didn't come back. I shouldn't like, broadcast that too much. But honestly, it's an incredible city to play music in. So like to have those two things like be highlights in your mind, that makes me feel good about it. It's like Toronto is on the map. I know you're not doing Toronto again soon because you're touring again soon. And I have kind
mhm.
of some questions for you, but
Okay.
cognizant of your time. And I sort of wanted to ask about that tour that you just mentioned too, the one with High on Fire and Power Trip. Like,
Hmm.
not to throw a total wrench into everything. But like, I have to ask you about Riley. I have to ask you about
Hmm.
like how that was. Like, what was the experience to tour and what do you kind of like, hope to bring forward from that? Like, everybody seems to feel like they want to like bring forward something of that like energy. So, yeah, I mean, and that was High on Fire, Power Trip, Creeping Death, Devil Master, right? In
Yeah. Yeah.
2019.
Yep.
Man, oh my God. Like,
Yeah. It was pretty lit tour. It was super sick. Yeah, that was still one of my favorite tours that we've done to date. We've known all the Power Trip dudes for years, just from being in the same area. I'm in a fantasy football league with Nick and Blake, and like so, and I mean Riley was basically neighbors with Reese. They lived pretty much a couple streets away from each other and would hang out all the time. So we were all like close and have a good rapport. And I mean, Lincoln plays drums in Fugitive, Blake's other band. So we've
oh,
always just been friends, and they've been our homies for at this point like over a decade. So yeah, that tour was a lot of fun for us because it was like one of the first. I think it was actually the first really really like big major tour that we did with like 1,000 cap rooms and stuff. So everyone was super nice and accommodating to us and helpful because we were obviously pretty green and learning a lot of stuff. But yeah, I had fucking blast on that tour, like hanging out with all those dudes and partying and having fun. And yeah, it was sick.
That's amazing. That's such a amazing way to have like the first big tour experience, like you're saying, with that lineup. Like that's incredible. Like
Yeah,
amazing.
we lucked out. I mean, yeah, we've definitely been extremely lucky with like the tours we've been able to get land on and stuff. It's been awesome, honestly.
You played with Carcass. Like you played with Carcass.
Twice,
Oh
twice.
my
We
God.
did two tours with them. Like
Like,
we got along with them so well that like they asked us back. Like that's still crazy to me. It's just like, yeah, like I could say that, Carcass and their crew are like legitimately like good friends of all of ours, not like personally, like it's honestly sick because it's like, Heartwork was at, my mom is a big metal fan, and she used to say she would play Heartwork when I was like a little kid. And I would like as a baby be like, play it again. And she would just play it again for me. So it was like a little
oh my
more, it was
God.
like, I didn't know that. But it was a little full circle moment for her because she was a big Carcass fan back in the day too. So, yeah, it was,
Wow.
so yeah, it was cool. Like we've been pretty lucky.
You don't even know that you're answering my questions before I even ask them. I love this. You're just telling me because something I was going to ask, something I like asking people is like, what was the first kind of like metal awakening moment for you? And for you to tell me that, it's like, good luck the next person who has to answer that question after you.
Yeah,
That's so
it's like,
good.
yeah, my mom grew up listening like metal around me. Like I had a pretty diverse like listening kind of shift, like a lot of hip hop, a lot of soul and funk, and a lot of 80s pop and classic rock and metal. And so it was always just kind of around when I was growing up. It wasn't like it was like foreign to me or I had to really discover it. I kind of always kind of got what metal was for the most part. It wasn't until I was older and I realized it kind of got divided more into more subgenres and subcultures and whatnot. And then that's when I kind of really like really dove in. But yeah, I kind of always had like a knowledge and enjoyment of metal even as a small child.
That explains a lot because I feel like so I have to ask you about the new album too, obviously, because I'm sort of supposed to be focusing on that. It's coming out in a couple of weeks and like I listened to it. I got it on I think Wednesday or Thursday and I had a chance to like go through it once fully at least. And like so that just kind of makes so much sense what you just said because it seems like that album and like what you guys sound like as well is very much kind of like it is old school sounding. It has that. And at the same time, it's just like you're so fresh, like you're so energetic about it. And like it's so good to hear, because like there's a lot of this kind of stuff out there that can be sort of like trying to be like thrashy and heavy at the same time and like really fun and like hella moshable, like you were saying. Like people go crazy to it. Like it was nuts. So yeah, you kind of you have metal in your veins. Like
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I think we try to blend as much stuff together without sounding too disjointed. So yeah, I think this band, not just like the influences for the band, but us as people, like we all have different musical tastes and musical backgrounds and interests. So I think all of that, since we all like to contribute in the writing process, I think all of that kind of lends to it. It's like once we can get it all sounding like, you know, one band, and then you can create some pretty cool stuff.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's coming out in a couple weeks and you're doing another big tour and there's like phases. There's first
Yep.
leg of the tour, little break, second leg kind of thing.
Yep.
And the support is changing. So I'm curious, like, was that just because of like whatever logistics it just turned out that you wanted to switch it up? Or I guess it gives a chance to show more supporting acts like on two legs of the
Yeah.
tour. Like how'd that happen?
Yeah. So we've been just done a lot of tours, uh, and a lot of 30-day tours, and it's just
And
uh,
go. So yeah, you were saying you've done so many tours and then I lost you.
yeah, okay. We've just done so many like 30-day tours, 4-week, 5-week tours. And you only usually get like a couple of off days tops. So, we were like, it would be nice if we just like would do it like 2 weeks at a time. And so, we were like, well, it's our tour, we can do whatever we want. So let's
Nice.
just, let's break it up. We'll do the West Coast. Because it also helps with people's availability, is not everyone can do a full 30-day tour,
True.
so it's like, hey, how about let's do a 2-week tour, like, you guys
Yeah.
down for that? And then a lot more people are up for that. So yeah, it just helps logistically easier. And then you go for 2 weeks and get a break. That's right about when you start to get tired of being in the band anyway. You go home for a
Yeah.
little bit, 7 to 10 days, and by the end you're gonna be like, man, I'm kind of bored, I want to go back out on the road. And then you go back out and got another 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun. We've
Recharge.
never tried it, but we've been talking about it for a while, about doing something like this. So
That makes so much
maybe
sense.
it'll be a thing. Maybe, yeah, maybe people will start doing that a lot more. We'll see.
There's one of the bands that stays on though, both sides, don't they? I was looking at the poster before
Yes.
we started
Yes,
here.
Saint Peeler. That's actually Reese's older brother. That's his band. He plays bass and does vocals.
Oh yeah.
His older brother, yeah, his older brother Adrian, he is like a touring member for us, because our bass player Eric is like a teacher. So obviously during the school year, he's not going to be available. He'll be on this tour this summer because obviously it's in the
He's
summer.
off.
But
Yeah, yeah.
so we like St. Peeler as a band and as people. So we were like, how about you guys, come with us? That'd be sick. And so yeah, they'll be coming with us. We're stoked.
That works out super well. Then you rotate out the other two spots here, right? So you got, yeah, that's fantastic. So I hope it goes super well, even though I won't be seeing it because I'm all the way up here in the frozen north. No, it's fine. It's like the same kind of condition there as you have. So yeah, so that's great. Is there anywhere that you particularly like on this tour? Is there anywhere that you think will go off as hard as Toronto went off?
We'll see. I'm hoping the Texas, the San Antonio, and the last date of the tours in Fort Worth. I'm hoping those days are obviously sick. Outside of that, California, I hope is sick. We play Richmond with Enforced, so I'm excited for that. So yeah, it should be exciting. Colorado, we play Colorado every time we play Colorado. It's always awesome. So yeah, just very stoked. Should be fun. Should be a fun run.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. What's the that brings me to another
Oh,
I like to ask also like,
sorry. 1 second. I
oh
gotta get the dog.
yeah, no
Hey,
problem.
Gizzy. Come here, Gizzy. Come here.
So I was gonna ask you what's the Trey Pemberton Dream Creeping Death tour lineup? Any bands in the world, any place in the world, where would you like to go and who would you like to be beside on stage with Creeping Death?
I would like to do, well, can I count a world tour? Can I just, because
Yes.
I haven't, we haven't, okay, world tour, because we haven't played Southeast Asia or Australia or Japan or anything like that. Um, and then, yeah, and then South America, I want to play South America really bad. So yeah, all those places, plus US North American tour and Europe with Carcass, Cannibal Corpse, us, and Tribal Gaze, like the homies.
Okay.
Yeah, I would want to bring a band that's like our homies. Like I would want like some legends, and then like another homie that we can just like experience all the crazy shit together. Like
Are
that
they
would be
from
sick.
Texas? Is that
Yeah, they're from East Texas. A lot of them live in Dallas now. So they're basically a Dallas band, but yeah, they started in Tyler, or yeah, Longview, actually, Longview, Texas.
and it's like straight up death metal? I haven't heard them, so you just gave me
Oh, yeah, Tribal
yeah.
Gaze. Look them up. They're
Hell
they're
yeah.
they're fucking sick. They're like my favorite, like new band, like straight up. They released a record last September, called The Nine Choirs. It's incredible. It's my favorite release, like death metal release of last year. So
Yeah.
yeah, they rock. It's dope.
Sick. Sick. who else are the local homie bands that are on top? Because I feel like Texas just has so much. Like there's such a
Oh,
crazy variety.
it's crazy. Yeah, Frozen Soul is fucking killing it. They just dropped an album. That's sick. I Am, they're dope. In the more hardcore realm, you have Judiciary and Scourge. Like Scourge has got some death metal stuff, but they're pretty hardcore death metal mix. You've got Flesh Rot who are on tour. They're from West Texas. It's Tribal Gaze from East Texas. There's a band more of black metal style called Skeleton. They're from Austin. I think most of them relocated to New York, but I think one of them still lives in Austin now.
Hmm.
And yeah, dude. So Malignant Altar. They're unfortunately they broke up recently, but they're from Houston and they they rock. I'm probably forgetting like a lot of shit just because there's
No,
just
that's a whole
they're like a
playlist worth.
wealth. Yeah, it's like a wealth of like stuff, and I just like I
Yeah.
always like 30 minutes from now I'm gonna be sitting there playing video games and I'm gonna be like, fuck, I should have named so and so, you know.
No, well then just message me or like
So
post it because like
yeah.
I feel like the playlist, the local playlist, like a stupid sort of like pet project that I have going as like, in this my like, I'm a music journalist kind of lifestyle. Like I started out taking photos of my friends' bands. Like I only like, and I like to do band reviews. I like to do interviews, more than I like to just review albums and just say like, hey, Creeping Death, Boundless Domain is super awesome. You should listen to it. So like, this is so great to hear like your insights. So don't apologize if you have like you have like 10 recommendations. This is what I'm here for.
Okay, sick,
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it's going to happen, like based on the kind of like snowball that you guys have built so far. Like, I'm sure you'll get to pick up a couple of those like dream, locations and stuff. I hear a lot of people say Japan. I think that just generally, like, that's kind of an interest.
I
Like,
think I think it's just so like foreign. Like I hate to use the word, but it's just so foreign and so different than what we're used to over here
yeah,
that I think a lot of people are just super curious about it. And then also the culture of things that come from Japan that we enjoy, like video games and anime and stuff like that. I think that also kind of lends to it, at least for me anyway. I think I'm
yeah,
kind of interested in that. And
yeah.
sushi. Before I went vegetarian, sushi was my favorite food. So I wanna eat some good Japanese food. I would be stoked on that.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, that's basically. Now I want to ask you what anime you're watching, but that's a whole other thing. Actually like no lie, Phil from Municipal Waste was one of my other recent interviews that like I felt like I really wanted to talk to him about his new band because he's hand drawing those music videos. I'm sure that if he got to talk to you for like 5 minutes a day, like he would have talked to you about that. And I think it is kind of cool to see people like taking those sort of 80s and 90s things that like they were really obsessed about. And like, I'm sure he would have been drawing on his notebooks, in school and stuff. Like, people still do
Yeah.
that, and it's like, that's cool to me. That's so awesome. It makes me feel less like I'm too old for like, you know,
Dude,
everything that's coming
my
up.
mom is
Like,
50, she's 56, 55, I think. She might turn 56 soon, but she still wears band shirts and she wears Doc Martens and she's a psychiatrist. She still obviously has her like business attire, but when she's like wearing personal stuff, she just wears whatever she likes. She's just like if she wants to wear a band shirt, just wears a band shirt. She likes metal and sports and rap music and stuff. It's like I don't think it like the age thing is like I don't think you need to like quote unquote. I don't think there's an age to act. Like if you want to like slow down and be kind of like an old fuddy duddy or whatever, that's your prerogative. You're allowed to do that. But I don't know.
you might
I
start
think
putting on a little bit more of that stuff. Like, yeah.
yeah,
What's
it's like I just feel like you can like if you want to like just dress and do whatever like makes you happy at the end of the day.
what do you listen to when you want to kind of like cleanse the palate? Because like you do too much death metal or even black metal. And I personally like I like to put on weird just like dungeon synth, which has
Oh,
no drums. And I'm just like, okay, now I can just calm down for a second.
yeah, our singer really likes Dungeon Synth, but yeah, for me, I actually like I listen like I would say my listenership is already like it's not like I don't listen to metal a lot. I would say maybe like a third of my listening is like metal, and then like another third is probably like rap music, and the other third is kind of like a miscellaneous. group of just like anything from like indie to like stuff like Midnight Trust and the Marias. Like I like bands like that, kind of like lo-fi sort of pop stuff. And I also like stuff pop music. I like Charlie XCX a lot. Um, fucking like Beyonce, like stuff like that. I just,
Who does it?
it's like, yeah, it's like, just like it's the same. I basically just listen to like the same way that I do when I was a kid. It was just like not all the time metal was being played, but at the same time, it was still on, and then also this 80s music was on, and then also this all stuff was on. So it just kind of continued. It's just like I just kind of still rotate the same kind of like style. It's just like a lot of the even if it's new or old, like hip hop, synth wave, pop, emo, kind of like anything. Like I have it all. I put it in a quote unquote chill playlist, but it's basically everything that's not metal or rap music that's like not sort of aggressive, like heavy screaming. That I
Yeah.
just put it all in one playlist called chill, and it's everything from Prince to Title Fight to, like I said, Charlie XCX to Beyonce to soul and funk, like George Clinton and Parliament. So it's just kind of like I guess like my thing is like I don't really have to have a palate cleanser because I'm always just rotating stuff anyway. If I
That's fair.
if anything, yeah, if anything, my palate cleanser, if I'm tired of listening to music, is listening to like sports podcasts. Like
Yeah.
when I'm tired of listening to music, I just put on sports podcasts.
Uh, I do the Neil deGrasse Tyson talk sometimes because that's sort of like halfway like a comedy show at this point sometimes too. It's like
Yeah.
nice. Well, that's great. That's a lot to chew on. Thank you. And I know that you're at the end of you're basically at the end of a day. So thank you so much for all of that. And I'm super looking forward to seeing how this tour pans out. I can't wait to be able to talk to people about how good the album is.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll do what I
Appreciate
can, but like
it.
but it's always gonna be like pretty soon it's gonna be the same paragraph all the time. Like, this is great. You should listen to it. Put it on right now. Like so yeah.
Yeah, just
Anything else you wanna sign off with? Anything I should hear, or words that you want to share with the people?
um yeah, you can follow us on all of our socials at Creeping Death TX on everything. Yeah, check out the record June 16th. Uh, yeah, that's about it.
Nice. All right, Trey, thank you so much, and enjoy winding down. Enjoy the nice evening over there. And yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
cheers.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cheers. Take it easy. Peace.
Bye.